Okay, how do you know when you need modification? Okay, when there's no fruit. How's that? When there's no fruit. So I would say virtually every church in America needs modification. How many can say it? Yes, okay. 2, when a church gets a new pastor or leader, you need to modify because the gifts are different. And you need to modify. Or you're going to be out of sync. Either way, the pastor needs to get in sync with the church or the church with the pastor, however you work it out. We tend to, in America, have the church adjust to the leader. Which I don't know whether that's right or wrong. That's just what we do. 3, when a church hasn't modified for 3 to 5 years, if you haven't changed how people receive Christ in your services, the order of your service, you with me? Tweak the music in your services, visually change the services, had a somewhat of a change in the leaders of the church. I don't mean throw them all out, but they're, for example, if I had a church of established, and I had a board, because I don't believe in boards, but let's say a leadership team. I'm telling you, this is going to blow your mind. I'd have 2 high school kids on it.
On the board?
Yeah. Mature high school kids. Why? The early disciples were 15 and 18 years old. The people who founded Christianity. What do? We keep them infants until they're 30 years old. And then we say you can do it. Am I right? And I'll tell you, a lot of these overweight, white, middle-class leaders could learn a lot from a 17-year-old kid as to what's going on. Am I right? Women need to be on there equally and looking at and different economic levels on a leadership team. I go to churches, and you know who's on the leadership team? The people who give the most money. 9 times out of 10. Why? Well, 1, we want to keep them. 2, they want to tell you what you're doing with your money. And 3, we're stupid. Why do we do that? I mix them up, get a true representation of the church, and get some input from them. Am I right? Most pastors I know need to start taking 17-year-old kids in the church to lunch. Right? Not business people. They're out of date. They can't tell you anything that's going to help you. How are we doing so far? When there aren't resources to maintain the operations the way you once operated. Okay? I went to one church. They plateaued at about 400 people. The building required a congregation of 800 people to support it. Anytime you get a building with that many empty chairs, guess what? It's not exactly dynamic. In a room like that, I can guarantee this, your attendance will decline because of that. So you start off in trouble and you get more in trouble. So guess what I told them? If they were going to have a prayer at reaching a community, because that's a value to me, reaching a community. Whether you have a building or not, I don't think that matters a lot. But what do you think I told them? First, I had them get an evaluation on their building. Then I had them look for a buyer. I said, if I were you, I would sell this building and take my $3 million to the bank. I would go to a high school and I'd hire 6 people, half of them for outreach, and I would win this city. To heck with your building. Am I right? How many kind of see what I'm saying? They can't pay for it. They can't do their task because the way they formerly operated cannot be paid for anymore. That's why 14% of the churches that's all that are healthy financially, because we're trying to sustain something we can't pay for anymore. You with me? And you know what? I hate to break your heart. We probably never will again. Since 2007, churches have had trouble making money. And I'm going to tell you, in the next 8 years, probably 7, churches are going to lose their tax deductible rating. And they're going to be paying a degree of taxes. And people won't get discounts on their taxes for giving to churches. Why? Because we've got idiots who are building assets of $45 million calling themselves pastors. You with me?
Yep.
That's a lot of the reason. We're creating the problems.